Clic, mort. Ça tue, ça blesse, ça flingue. Hey, 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 mort.
Welcome back to the latest installment of Chris Lindsey Hoop Mondays. For those that's listening, if you ain't catch on to what I just said, we got another episode with Chris Lindsey back in the building. Cali's own is here with the B and me. How you doing tonight?
My guy Tone, what's the deal, man? My guy, always a love being on here, man. I know it's been a minute, y'all, but we back.
We always love having you on. Like you said, that's my guy. We gonna have on this episode some mailbag questions. Some people from Threads gave us some questions, so definitely tune in. We're gonna have conversations about all of that. Vegas, how Threads is going up, favorite moments of the NBA year, the entire year, 2025, Christmas Day picks. Talk about obviously, it's trade season officially. So we'll touch on all of that in this episode. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to be here for a good time and a long time. We'll start off with Christmas Day game because it's literally right around the corner. I don't know about for you, bro, but this year went by. It was just Thanksgiving. It was just Thanksgiving. Literally. Before I even go through the games, which of these games is your most interesting game that you want to watch? Like, I think it's safe to say, I'll ask you who you think gonna win, but Cavs Knicks, we could still be opening up presents. Uh Warriors Mavs, we could go take a nap. Like, out of those other games, what's your
Right.
favorite game that you most interested in?
I really like that Thunder. The Thunder game is going to be a good one. I think I got Oklahoma winning that one for sure. It's going to be close though, but I wouldn't be mad. I know technically they've struggled with air quotes. So I'm gonna put that over there. It'll be a nice revenge from the little NBA Cup that they had, and then obviously Lakers Rockets is going to be one I got circled. That's going to be a good one. With Braun, KD, Luca, both teams are right there under Denver and Oklahoma in the Western Conference. So that's probably going to be my favorite one. And then even the Nuggets game is going to be a good one too. So if I had to make my picks for all of the days that are coming up for those games, I got Knicks winning, Thunder winning, Mavs, Rockets, and Nuggets. That's who I got.
So probably the only one I would disagree on that one is obviously I'm picking my Lakers to win, but the Rockets have been balling. I like what I've seen. I want to, of course, because we could talk ball. Chris Lindsey knows he knows ball, so I could just bring up stuff and we just conversate from there. Kevin Durant last night, he said, "Yo, it's in the confines of his lines. I'm gonna say what I need to say. I'm gonna get it off. I've learned how to talk and hoop." Did you see any issue with how that interaction between KD and Bruce Brown? He said something that men shouldn't say to each other. Do you think there is a line not to cross when you're on that court?
Obviously, yeah, you want to keep family name calling stuff out of your mouth. When you hoop and just keep it all about the game. And if you feel like you cross the line or somebody says something, then that's just something you got to take up with who you going at. You know what I'm saying? But then on the other hand, Bruce and Kay, they played together in Brooklyn. They had a playoff run together for a season or two. But then, it's just friendly banter. And Kevin, he always looking to get into it with somebody. You know what I mean? That's a part of the game. And that's a lot of times what's missing from the game now is the trash talk element. So when you start kind of getting that mode, then that just turns him up to another level. And he showed it yesterday about what he's able to do. Unfortunately, Bruce, he can't go on the other end and take an ISO shot on Kevin, or they're not drawing up plays for Bruce on the other end. So he really can't get his get back unless he's doing something on defense, which is fine because for a defender going against a great offensive guy like that, that's a W. We seen Pat Bev do that to Kevin in the 2018 playoffs. He did the same thing when he imitated him flopping. And then we get the clip of Pat Bev sitting down on the sideline on the floor, huffing and puffing, upset because he fouled out. But it just happens. But that's part of the game. But there's lines that you don't want to cross by name calling, family, keep all that stuff out of there. But if you a bum and you trash, I'm gonna call you bum and trash and need to go sit down on the bench. Go sit down on the bench, like before your coach gets you out of there. So it just depends, bro. But it was good to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta wait to see when they drop the Instagram video of what was really said, and he catch the
Oh,
audio.
Legends. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Legends. You got shout
yeah.
out to Legends NBA. Yeah, Legends. Shout out to Legends.
We gotta wait for that to drop. From what we saw from Rhea Lips, he called him a bum. I didn't see anything else said, but I'm not. I wasn't there. Maybe he mumbled the unforsaken word under his breath or something, but on the camera, what we saw, he's like, "You a bum. You a bum." That's not crossing. That's
Had
not
him
crossing the
walking,
line.
pointing at the bench and telling him to go sit down probably was one of the funnier things too. You know what I mean? Like Kevin, like again, we saw it. He said he loved to troll, man. So you know, you're not gonna out troll somebody who has satire like that. You know what I mean? So
I think the NBA does need to allow that more because I know players want to do it, but when you start touching that wallet because there's a fine here, a fine there. They grown men. Long as it ain't getting to the point where some elbows being thrown or whatnot. All right, we good. Long as the ref don't hear, like, hey, your baby mom, she was with me last night. Hey, John, cut it out. That's your first warning. If that ain't happening,
let him cook, man. Let him
let
have
them
fun.
talk. Exactly. Staying in that same vein though, what do you feel about Dylan Brooks? Because on one extreme, I don't see anything wrong with the banter and the back and forth he had with Braun, but then what he did to Steph, literally hitting his man in his stomach, it's like he just be on. It's no in between wins. Is on 20, and that's it. It's no in between with mans. Like, what's your take on Dylan Brooks as a player? Like we've talked about it. I know it's important. That's a part of what he has to do, part of his persona. But sometimes he just take it too far.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of like mixed with it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I get he has to have that edge, and that's what he has to do in order to stay in the league. And he's such an offensively gifted guy that we didn't see a lot of this in his other stops. And he's a culture changer. You know, every team he's been on, he's been able to make the playoffs, and he's been like this since college. And he has this edge, and he has to play this way. But you still got to do it, like we just alluded to before, within the confines of the game. You don't want to cross any lines and be hitting innocent people that are shooting the ball or anything like that. But then on one hand, it's almost Draymond adjacent, right? So we could see kind of like that same kind of variant that will give Draymond a longer leash sometimes to act foolish because he's just getting riled up and getting his guys in. But as the case as we saw with the last game, Draymond got kicked out. And it was just like out of a retaliation kind of thing, shoving somebody. You know, I'm sure you can find on YouTube a compilation of Draymond doing some erratic stuff on the court that have nothing to do with basketball. And it cost his team dearly, as we saw in 2016. That kind of cost them a lot in some ways. But I feel like there is a place in the game for it in some facet of it, but just control to where you don't cost your team anything. Like if your team needs a spark, or you got to take a hard foul, or you got to guard the team's best player, talk trash, or engage them, or bait them into something, cool. But if a guy's shooting, you go hit him in the stomach, you don't have to do anything like that because then you start getting a poor reputation. Front offices are going to stop wanting to deal with you, and it just becomes a bad thing. Or some teams may want your services on their team, you know, because I'm sure deep down he's a good guy. He just has to transform. That's why you see him staring at the starting lineups to summon whatever he's trying to get to brew up to play. Some guys are just wired different, and we don't have many guys in the league that are like that are hard nosed, scrappy, that play that way. He's from Canada too, so you know he kind of changes that whole narrative of what people feel about Canadians. So it's kind of dope to see, but I just wish he would do it. There's a point in time for it throughout the game. Like if your team's losing, don't do it. If you're winning, like the thing with Braun, that cost in the game. Didn't need to do it. So you have to do it at the right time. Have a little bit more self control.
Yeah, he was all good to me until that point. Yeah, you probably should have got a foul call, but your team needed you. You could have did that after because at that point it was up. You win the game, you could get all in broad face you want, chest bump him, talk about his hairline, his receipt, whatever you wanted to do. Ultimately, you still need to get that dub because none of that matters. Like you dropped 60 and in the group chat it mattered. You probably, hey, bro, we lost, but I dropped 60 on your head. But in the ultimate thing, y'all, it don't matter if they didn't get the dub. So definitely staying in that Christmas vein. I talked about this, what you were saying, and I do want to have some animosity back in the league. I want some rivalries. I want some of that. I want some of that smoke, trash talk. I want all that back in the league. And we sometimes got to see that on Christmas Day. The league did a good job of making sure it was, oh, these two players beefing? Christmas Day. That's the game, 2 o'clock. We're going to have them on Christmas Day for the world to watch. What are some of your favorite Christmas Day games that come to your memory?
I have three. Of course, I'm a little biased being out here on the West Coast, seeing the glory days of Kobe. I'm gonna go 2000 Spurs Lakers. We know we had Kobe wearing the glove and he dunked on Jaren Jackson Sr., which was a big play because if you go back the year before, the Spurs eliminated the Lakers and that was their last game in the Forum. The Spurs were the defending champs. So that was the first Christmas Day game at Staples Center. So to see how electric the crowd was and everybody was excited, that was a big moment that I really appreciated. '08 Lakers Celtics, the year after the Lakers lost to the Celtics, that was a huge game. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Celtics were on a 19-game winning streak during that time. Kobe had a phenomenal game. It went down to the wire. Remember the I think the Lakers were up about 3 or 4 points or something like that. About 3 points. And Ray Allen was going for the tie, and Pau Gasol contested, and he blocked it, which means to Kobe tipping it to Ariza, and Ariza got the finish or the dunk. They're up like 3 or 5 or something like that. But that was crazy. Like to finally feel like we got some get back. Like, you know what I mean? Which was a really good one. And then also 2011 Lakers Bulls. First game after the lockout, Derrick Rose game winner in Staples Center. I was at that game, so I was hurt. I was living in New York at the time, and I came out here to visit. So when I was out here, I went to the game. So I was all hyped, you know what I mean? Opening night, Derrick Rose is just the MVP against Kobe. First game without Phil since 2005, right? Because Mike Brown was the coach. I mean, the Lakers are starting Josh McRoberts, so that the whole roster was was a little different. I don't know if he started, but he played a lot in that game, especially in the fourth. They was closing the game with him. Kobe had a crazy shot. I remember on the baseline in front of the Bulls bench with a crazy crossover, and that's where the infamous picture came out of him trying to shoot the game winner, and he got blocked by Luol Deng, and it was like the whole Bulls team on him, and you just see him shooting. I know the meme always says, like, when you got 20, when you playing 21 and you try to score and everybody kind of blocking you. So that was good. So those three stand out to me, man. Those three Laker memories. I feel like, I tried to go not too obvious. I remember the foam finger game. I was at that one with LeBron and the Cavs the following year. I was there. I couldn't get my foam finger thrown down far enough without getting kicked out, because they had me at the top. But it's all good though. I was in the building.
Definitely some good Laker memories right there for Christmas. That Lakers on Christmas Day is the equivalent of Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
That's it.
It's a guarantee. They're gonna be on the schedule without any question, and 90% of the time it's at home. It's going to be a home game for the Lakers always. And you just brought back some bad memories mentioning that Bulls game. It was literally in this living room right here. Literally, if I open this door and go into the living room, it was me and Pops watching, and I was, oh heck no! And I gotta go to school the next week, and we thought, no, it was practice. I had practice, and they was all, yeah, your Lakers, that one hurt for sure. I'm gonna go back, current Laker, but he wasn't Laker at the time. 2023 Luka, that game we had 50, 15, and 6. They beat the Suns at the time. That was like numbers that nobody ever put up. He also had like 4 steals, I think 2 blocks. It was astronomical numbers we ain't never seen. And then I think it was that following season, Nikola Jokic. That game he had the 40, 15, and 15, the only game in NBA history to have 40, 15, and 15 against the Suns as well. He played all 48 minutes. They needed 44 minutes out of 48. They needed every single bucket, rebound, assist out of Jokic for that game. They barely beat the Suns that one, so that comes to mind. And of course, I purposely didn't want to go the Laker route because I could literally just start from the beginning of time when Christmas was there, and that would be my entire list. Because like even the first game with Kobe against Shaq, more heartbreak because the man
Man,
had 42 piece. He almost
yeah.
beat them, and they came in on a 10-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into 11 because they won, but that was a tough time. Like you said, during that era, once Phil wasn't there, we still had Lakers on Christmas Day every day, but it often was a lot of Kobe buckets and some L's. Kobe buckets and
Man.
L's.
It was a lot of that. It was a lot of that. I just remember the city being like so divided. I feel like that was probably one of the bigger games like ever. Like, like just the weight and the gravity, everything that built up to it, them not talking to each other, like, Shaq doing the whole looking away and Kobe not looking, and then Kobe just attacking Shaq anytime he had a chance to, hitting fadeaways. Kobe hit like 3 straight threes in the first quarter. It was something crazy like that. And we were all like, oh my God, like here we go. And then Dwayne Wade happened. And we're like,
29 and
oh.
10. 29
Yeah, we were like,
and 10.
We can't be too mad at that. You know what I mean? And he kind of got caught in the crossfire. And then, Kobe tried to go for it. He tried to game it, had a good look,
Yeah,
and that shot probably meant everything to him. Because if he would have laced that, dog, I'm saying, but and then I remember Shaq's post-game interview. He run up to him. I knew it wasn't gonna go in. I knew it wasn't gonna go in. Like, bro, yeah. When I designed this locker room, when I made Staples Center, I'm like, all right, okay. I was off, bro, for a little bit. I was like, nah, you're not gonna do my man's like that.
That was a time. Like I said, I wish we could get some of that back. Like you said, not the fighting and all that type of stuff. I'm not asking for 60s basketball, but I like seeing Westbrook going at Durant. I like seeing that and telling them we here. You ain't.
Yeah.
I like seeing that. I like seeing Russ coming back to LA and telling AD you soft,
Mm.
and then him getting injured. Like I like seeing
Poetic
like seeing
justice,
that.
bro.
Hey, when we look back on this year, because it's what, the 21st today, we got week and some change left, and then we in the 2026. What were some of your favorite NBA moments of this year?
Man, I'm gonna stick it to players, right? Like certain guys that I saw in certain teams, right? I got 3 of them. Cade Cunningham's ascendance, like the fact that he's been able to live up to that number 1 pick. He has a competent roster behind him. He's finally healthy, and guys, they're playing fantastic. Obviously, as of now, being the top of the Eastern Conference, but to see his skill level, how calm of a hooper he is, and just how he plays the game was something I've really been enjoying. So shout out to Cade Cunningham. Second, I would say the Knicks resurgence, right? To see Madison Square Garden be electric this last past season, for him to make a deep playoff run. It's been crazy, bro. Like, and the NBA is always in a better spot when the Knicks are competitive, which is something that we always hear, but it's a fact. It's true. There's nothing like going to the Garden. I know I put that on Threads like last week, I think. And I was like, if you ever get to experience an NBA game, please go to the Garden. Like, you're never going to regret it. It's like a bucket list thing. So I could say that, myself being a honorary East Coast member for a couple years, I got to frequent. I was in Barclays. I went to even, what was it, Prudential Center back, or Izod, whatever it used to be back then. Yeah, I went there before, the Nets moved to Brooklyn. So it was great. And then lastly, OKC's dominance. I think from what they were able to do starting last year, missing Chet for a good portion of their year, and for them to win as many games as they did, to see what Shea, Jalen, and then when Chet got back, how they were able to kind of put it together. And it was nice to see them go through something in the playoffs to where they really had to push themselves and win in the final series in 7 games. I think it gave us everything that we was looking for. And yeah, those are like the 3 things that I really like could stand out. I know there's a bunch more, but those 3 for sure are like what stood out in my mind.
I'm gonna go with just a little different list. Quarter Gold, seeing that doc come out, one of my favorite sports docs that came out this year, NBA doc specifically, obviously, really good to see. I'm a documentary junkie. especially the sports ones. So to get the behind the scenes and to get these jokers really thought they was going to beat USA to see. Oh yeah, we practiced for years. They all talking about yeah, we've been doing this for years. They just come together for a couple of months, and Katie talking his talk like, but you,
That's gonna help you guard Steph. What, boy? It's out the mud, man. Come on, dog.
So I love seeing that, and I throw one more out there as a Lakers fan. Luka being traded to the Lakers.
Yeah,
I've been on my soapbox since Bron got there, especially then once everything happened. I said once this man leave, it's going to go back to them dark days. Once that man retires, it's going to be dark days back in LA. I don't know if I could do it, but everything looks more better now. It looks yellow, purple colored glasses. The skies look nice. It's cold here, but it just feels like as a Lakers fan, it's 75 to 80 degrees all the time. We got a new owner coming in that's going to spin the bag. You know him very well as a Dodgers fan. He's owning now the Lakers. It's looking up. I don't think we're gonna win a title this year, but in the next 5, I can see we winning a title with this new owner, Luka, Austin Reeves ascension. Oh yeah, I can see. I can see.
Facts.
It's not gonna be dark days once this man up and leave. It's gonna be. We still gonna be good. It's still gonna be the Lake Show, man.
Hey, no, for real though. It's gonna be crazy, bro. You can just feel the energy. It's like some people are waiting for Bron to go. And on the other hand, which are mainly his fans, they like, nah, look what he just did, whoop-de-whoop, which is great. You know what I mean? We love that. However, when we're looking at the team on the front more than the name on the back, that's when I really start giving you that change. And then whoever's going to be available, because you can't just be Luka and Austin only. You're going to need that other guy, if you really want to be in some contention. So, and he's still young, so he's still got time to grow. And his game is just going to evolve as long as he stays healthy, he puts his mind to it like he already has. And yeah, they sitting pretty for a minute, bro.
Hey, if he do any type of spending that he doing over there with the Dodgers, and there's rumors of getting Kubo and the rest Screwball and the rest of the crew already to that roster. If he comes to the NBA and is on that same type of time, I ain't worried about us getting another guy.
Yeah, he ain't worried about nothing. He said, I'll spend it, bro. I'll spend
it. he gonna make it happen. And then we already saw some of the buses. Hey, here's your pink slip. It's a very, very nice payout. You'll never see this type of money. Very nice payout. I know they made their little comments, but please fire me if you're gonna pay me that much. Man, fire me.
I'll disappear, please. I want to get fired. Come on.
My last thing of the year is, and just in general, of course, is the growth on NBA Threads, just how far the app has come in general, specifically for the NBA Threads community. Can't speak to no other communities. I can speak a little bit to the NFL Threads community. Y'all don't sniff the NBA Threads community respectfully. So NBA Threads, that was one of my favorite parts of 2025. And I might mention it again in 2026 because from all accounts, they say there's more stuff coming next year. So Threads is up.
Straight up.
We mentioned just earlier, Anthony Davis, Laker Nation. His name is up there in trade talks. I'm gonna list a couple of these players, some of the top names, and you let me know if you think they're getting traded and where they possibly will be traded to. First one, Anthony Davis. Do you think he gets traded, and what's the best fit possibly for a team to go get AD?
Yeah, I think hopefully they'll do right by him and kind of start their rebuild already. We've already seen what Cooper's been able to do, along with also a Nimhard and some of their other key pieces that they have there. So if AD does get traded, I would like to see him in like Chicago, maybe, send him back home, but even Detroit. And I like what Detroit has already. I don't want to mess up anything, but if you have a chance to get somebody like Anthony Davis, and you could just get rid of a couple key guys here and there, not like your main key people, but just a little bit of them, which I don't know if that's obviously going to happen because then the Mavericks are going to want something back. But I would like if it was 2K was real life and I was able to put it on 2K and get rid of all the restrictions. I would like to see him in Detroit. I think he could just send them over the top. Him and Jalen down there, man. Listen, I think that would be a good one. So yeah, I would like AD in Detroit.
I'd love to see him in Detroit, especially if they're able to keep Beef Stew. And you at AD. Beef Stew a DPOY candidate low key this year.
Man, what? Come on, Juan Guan. Let's go.
Facts. I've heard from some of the insiders and the people that are paid way more money than I am to talk about it. Say one of the teams out there is the Toronto Raptors because of the amount of assets that they have. It doesn't do anything championship wise, but AD in Toronto with some of those young bulls over there, and it's kind of repetitive what they got in regards to wings. You got Scotty Barnes, you got BI, you got Barrett, and then you got at the guard position, you got Quickly, and so they have some more wiggle room and assets. I don't know if he'll want to do that. Going from Dallas to Toronto is
no tax to one of the highest. Ain't you another country? Yeah, I don't know about that one, champ.
Weather-wise and anything, yeah, I don't know about that one. A name that's been in the rumors for a minute, Trae Young. Does he get traded? And where do you think possibly would be a good fit for Trae to get traded?
For me, I don't think he gets traded. I think they're gonna end up keeping him. You know what I mean? And this because they have a pretty good roster with Jalen Johnson and even Zach that's on there. They have a pretty solid crew. I think it's just all the talk because people want better for him, which is great. You know what I mean? But honestly, I think he's just going to end up staying there and they just need to add in players to come play with him. And he has a core already. If you see how the modern NBA is already kind of constructed and built up, having your franchise guy, you have a couple guys that you drafted, you just kind of go from there. But he needs a running mate that's going to be healthy. Typically, Trae can be in and out of the lineup, but when you try to a backcourt with him with DeJounte, he wasn't healthy. Then Trae wasn't healthy. Now you got KP. Now he's hurt, dealing with things. So they just need someone who's like a solid role guy that could be a number two that works with his play style. So I think he stays, bro.
So with Jalen Johnson's ascension and how he's been balling this year, how do you think Trae fits back in with this roster? You feel me? Because he's been doing his thing. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's a 6 man of the year candidate. And they've been winning. They have a good little over the last 10, 15 games. They above 500 comfortably. So how do you think Trae Young fits back in with this roster if he doesn't get traded?
I think the nice thing about Trae is that he has a high IQ, right? So he's going to figure it out. And he's changed his game from being less of a scorer to being a willing passer and getting guys involved. And you can tell, he loves his guys. He wants to play hard. And I feel like he doesn't mind setting them up and just not being the guy, but not stifling the growth of the other guys. And I think the front office and the coaching staff over there with Coach Snyder, they're going to be creative in how they can build off of that. Because if you can have a 30 and 15 guy just sitting there at any point in time, you can make that work without it stifling the growth of everybody else on the team. So that's just going to be the key thing that Trae is going to have to do.
That's the thing I'm interested in seeing as well, because he could go the route when Trae comes back with this roster and how everybody's been playing and doing better. Even on Yeka Okongwu, I've liked him since last year. He's always been solid. He's added the 3 to be more consistent. He could mess around and just be like, yo, let me get on my Stockton and I'm going to just lead the league and assists. And it could be some,
again,
it really could be some astronomical number of 18, 19 assists a game with this roster and how they getting points up. And like you said, the IQ, obviously, because he can score, you feel me? I don't think that's going to be the route, but I won't be surprised if we see some games like that where 20 assists, 21 assists with this roster, and maybe somebody ends up, if not Trae, in this era of the NBA. Matter of fact, let me ask you, do you think anybody's going to break that assist record of, I believe, by Scott Skiles, 30 assists in a game? Do you see anybody breaking that in this, how we play basketball now and how the offense is, and the points that they're putting up and the pace they're playing at? Do you see somebody breaking that assist in a single game record?
I think it could get close. Honestly, I think someone can get close, but it's going to take a lot of made buckets. You know what I mean? And defenses are so gimmicky, and they're so they could show so many different things that if they see one guy just throwing the ball and guys just scoring with ease, they're going to make an adjustment, which is going to kind of stifle a little bit of the assists that are being done. Right? Maybe, maybe not. But if someone were to break it, I would say it probably would be Trey, because you see he just be wheeling the ball, and like the traditional point guard is not non-existent in the league. You know, Scott Skiles is like, let me set up a play and let it develop. And you only got so much time in order for it to count as an assist. So it's going to take a lot of things. And with the speed that they play with one pass and then a shot, maybe, but everything, a lot of stuff isn't at the rim. So you're leaving it to a guy who could shoot 35 to 42% to hit an open shot or a contested shot when you give up the ball. So I think it might be a minute until we see that record broken, but it's going to get close though.
Next name, Domantas Sabonis. Will he? I'll let you answer, but we could. It's a couple people on the Kings that we could just go through the. We could go through the roster on the Kings.
The Kings roster, yeah. Trade the Kings roster, man. All the LA guys, let's just get them out of there, man. Let's just move them all around a little bit, shuffle them up. Come on,
yeah. Starting off with Sabonis.
I think, Sabonis, for him being hurt right now is going to be a big issue. Where whenever he can get healthy, hopefully by the end, well, we're already at the end of the year, January before the All-Star break, which will lead probably more into the trade deadline. If he shows 2 weeks of some solid play, then I think he can be moved and go help a contender. I would like to see that, but if he's just going to be up and down and in and out of the lineup, being hurt, that's going to be hard for him to get moved. Now, as far as where, I don't know what team I know he could help a lot of teams, but I just don't know what team it would be. That's the part I'm having a hard part putting my thumb on, like, you know, like where it would go. Zach LaVine, another guy, if he's in a defined role somewhere to be not your second best player on every night, but it may be your third, you know, kind of like what Paul George is doing, but just as a starter and really putting up big numbers, he could really help a playoff team with his shot making ability, with his athleticism, even if what he does on the defensive end could help out. I really like that. And with DeMar, that one, I don't know. That's another tough one. But again, I'm sure he could help somebody because they ain't helping each other out there. Sacramento just needs to go full rebuild and let these older guys free already.
Full rebuild. Embrace it. Just go full rebuild. One of the names you ain't mentioned, you think Rush ends up getting moved possibly?
Oh, yeah. That's another one. Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. That roster.
Yeah. I mean, you got Malik Monk over there. I know they're not going to try to get rid of my young boy, the twin. That is Murray. Yeah,
Murray.
He's staying. Yeah, Keon Ellis. You know, they got something with him. Anthony Carter's son. They got something with him.
Devin Carter.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So you got your foundation already, right? You got your three guys. You got some wings. But Malik Monk, I'm sure, is highly coveted because of his skill set and what he could do coming off the bench somewhere. I mean, if a team is willing to pay for it, for sure. We saw him win the playoff game for the Lakers, him and Lonnie Walker a couple of years ago, right? So guys like that don't come around often, and they let him walk. Yeah, that was his audition when he was in LA, and he made the most of it, and he got paid. And but that's gonna be tough, man. I don't know.
What about this man Quentin Grimes over there on the Sixers?
Yeah, they got a lot point guards over there, boy. They got about 17 point guards over there, so they got quite a few. It's a log jam at that position. However, since guys are always in and out of the lineup, but Tyrese is pretty durable, more or less. But they lessen his load by keeping him out certain games, so that gives Quentin the 6-man role. Him and Jared, then they have to kind of share that role, even if they play a small ball lineup. But I feel like if they were desperate enough, they would have to trade him to another conference. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to gift somebody of his skill set and his scoring ability a chance to beat you later down the road. And he's a winning player, in the right system, which I feel like all these guys are when they're in the right situation.
Situation matters. Situation is heavily important. And to our conversation of threads and the importance of threads, the Threads team came through heavy. I asked y'all what y'all wanted us to talk about, so we're going to go through some of the questions. We're not going to do everybody's. We got a time constraint. We gotta make it. We gotta make a good episode. We can't be up here for 4 hours. This is not Bill Simmons. We not built like that over here. First one, we gonna shout out to my man Griff. If y'all watching this and don't know who Griff is, Griffin_Proc. He asked, he wants to hear our take on the Western Conference. Specifically, who do we think are the 5 top teams in that conference? As I feel we have a top 3, but the last 2 spots are very wide open. So who comes to mind for you as the top 5 teams in the Western Conference?
I probably got to say where the standings are right now. Like, with Oklahoma, Denver, the Lakers, I believe. Who else is there? Oklahoma, Denver, I believe the Lakers,
Houston.
the Rockets, and the Spurs. The Rockets and the Spurs, something like that. I mean, those are pretty much the top teams out west, where I feel like positions 3 through 5 can change between the Nuggets and the Lakers and Houston. But I think currently the Spurs are like number 2 in the West, which is kind of crazy. So you might have to give Wemby some consideration for Defensive Player of the Year or Mitch Johnson. We'll touch on that on another episode as we turn into the new year. We'll do that on next month. But yeah, I like those. Those are my top 5 teams out west for sure.
Hey, the thing with Wemby too, and I talked about this with Jarrett and Rush the other night. They might have to, for Wemby's sake, because it's going to be wild if we see when this man retire that he got like 2 all NBA teams because y'all have the 65 game rule. He can only miss, I think it's like 5 or 6 more games for the rest of the year. Wemby to have the year that he's having and ain't gonna have nothing to show for it. I don't know how you keep that rule.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
I think because of him, they'll revisit it.
They'll revisit it.
Both show on the next CBA. Shoot, they might forget. Wait for the CBA next negotiation. They might change it completely. So I just find that interesting because literally this year, to your point, like they're balling, number 2 team in the West. Obviously, most didn't know and didn't believe that the roster and in general was this good outside of Wemby. Castle, Harper, Fox, Vassell, Sohan, like Cornette, Keldon Johnson, like from top down, they have a legit top tier roster.
Harrison Barnes,
unless it's a championship game and he want to miss shots. Outside of that, Harrison Barnes, trusty vet, vet. Those teams that was mentioned right there, we all think we're on the same page. OKC is definitely still the favorite. We've seen the dominance throughout the year. I think Rich Paul said a healthy Rockets team could give that Thunder squad some fits. Which of those teams do you think are in best position to actually knock off the champs to get into the finals?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Rich Paul's sentiment, what he's saying about the Rockets. I know it's year 1, and potentially they might get Fred VanVleet back, but you got to think about how that's going to look in the development of Reed Shepherd as well, because that's going to be important. But I always like Denver because of just the whole thing with Joker. I know it's always nice to see them and OKC go against each other, and I like the other pieces that they've had. I know Aaron Gordon has been out for a while with his hamstring that was bothering him. And hopefully, if he's healthy, they can be a formidable foe. But I would either say the Rockets or the Nuggets will be the closest to like beating Oklahoma. But I mean, we just seen San Antonio do what they did, and then they got another chance this week to prove that again. So I don't know. It could be tough. Out of those 3, I'll up it to those 3. I'll add San Antonio in there as well with Houston and Denver.
If San Antonio wins again, then I might add them to it because the difference, you got to beat these jokers 4 times.
That's hard.
That's not the easiest thing to do. Not this OKC squad. So I'd have to say Denver first and the Rockets as well because they have the wings for the most part to match up with them. They have the defenders, willing defenders to match up with them. The only, I guess you could say, the thing that they have is at the point guard position because if Fred ain't back, yeah, obviously the glaring issue right there is if you got Reed playing major minutes against the champs. Amen, as he's still developing, but Amen playing the point against the champs. He'll do his job on defense, but on the other side, like, so it's some question marks there. Still very early. We're gonna go with the next one. So the wind sings. So the wind sings. She asks, who would you all's personal all-star team picks be? Who do you have as, I guess you could say, your locks, what you've been seeing so far regarding all-star?
For sure. So it's not East versus West anymore, right? Isn't it like something versus the world or something like that?
World versus
I forget.
US.
You see, no, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna act like that doesn't exist, and I'm just gonna pick East versus West just for the sake of my list because I totally forgot that's the case. So I'm gonna go old school. So for the West, I'm gonna have SGA, Luca, LeBron, KD, and Wemby. That's gonna be that one. You could move it all the foreigners to where they want to go to one team, however you want to deal with that. And then for the East, again, Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brown, Giannis, and Jalen Duran. I think I got those as East versus West. I couldn't find any more guys that were playing that were the world, I guess you can say. Technically by letter of law, you might find some other guys who may not be born in the US and may have dual citizenship, but yeah, I'm gonna go old school for the sake of the art of the episode.
Yeah, I think if I remember the format right, it's like the top 16 and they're supposed to split them up afterwards or something like that. It's another attempt to try something to make the all-star game matter. So we'll see how it goes. Name I'll throw out there. Denny Avia I think he might be one of those first time people that get in because everybody pretty much when it comes to this, I don't see much disagreement. It's not like you said, "Oh, I'm gonna put Austin Reeves in there." Bump the brakes. Pretty much everybody in there, you said I agree with. Even another like first timer would be like Jamal Murray. He's been doing this thing this year from the beginning of the season till now. So I want to ask though with this because I've seen a couple of sports shows and again some professionals paid very very nice money. Talk about this and how because of the fan vote, we know Bron's going to be in there. Do you have an issue with Bron being a starter, being that he's only played 10, 15 games? By the time we get to All-Star, maybe he'll play 25, 30 games, and he hasn't put up All-Star level numbers as of yet.
Honestly, I don't have a problem with it. Like, he's a legend. He gonna get that spot regardless because he is LeBron James. So he's gonna get that. He can average 4 points, but just because he's LeBron and they want to see him go out the right way, he gonna be in there. I think I was talking to Trey about that on Threads the other day. He kind of had alluded to that, and it just reminded me of when Vince Carter gave his starting spot to Michael Jordan in his last All-Star game in Atlanta in 2003. But then Trey brought out a good point: is that Mike wasn't like lobbying for it. He's just like, oh yeah, no, it's all good. Like he didn't want the spot. He's like, Vince, you worked hard, you got it. Like go for it. But they were like, nah, it's you, Mike. Like you take it. And he's like, okay. So that was a valid point. But obviously, when the fans get involved, LeBron probably has the biggest fan base in the NBA outside of maybe like Steph Curry, and he rightfully so. He's if they could just give him one more year. Listen, 2027 in Phoenix, whoever's new, maybe y'all can get that spot. Just let the old timer get his time. And it's in LA. He ain't gotta travel, he ain't gotta go nowhere. It's like, come on, they'll be all right.
I wonder if he gonna play too. That's the other thing too. Like he may get the
Yeah,
nod and he might show up, take the photos, and be like, all right. Especially in
like
LA,
last
he might
year.
be back at home
Yeah,
with
last year.
he might be back at home with Savannah after
He might
after
he
the
might
photo
show up
shoot.
he might be in his pajamas when he show up. You know what I mean? He might do that. He might just hold his
He
jersey up.
might
You know what I mean?
he might go home, be chilling with Savannah, talking about Taco Tuesday. Like he might.
Have the whole clutch fam out there because trust me, I already know out here in All-Star in LA is gonna be crazy. The
It's
traffic. Never mind, I'm not even trying to think about that. That's the next year problem. We gonna see.
I already heard somebody was mentioning that. It's like, I'm not looking for the traffic. They still have a bunch of infrastructure and construction they got to do, and they haven't even completed this, haven't completed that. That just let me know when I'm there, I'm not getting a rental. We gonna have to,
Nah. You're
we
gonna have
gonna
to
have to
East Coast it,
Uber.
bro. You're gonna have to walk. You ain't gonna have to Uber. You're gonna have to walk wherever you're gonna be at. I suggest just Uber it. So set aside some money for you to Uber yourself where you gotta go. You know what I mean? Because parking gonna be an arm and a leg.
That's
You
the
know what I'm
other thing
saying? So
too. I don't
they're
want
gonna rip
no
you
part.
off.
I don't want no parts of $75 for an hour. Nah, I'm good,
Yeah, that's
beloved.
crazy. That's
I'm,
crazy. Go away. I'm
I'm
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Drew Moon 5 asks, he said he want to hear some details about the NBA Cup experience. I ain't got much to say on that because I wasn't able to make it to Vegas. So the floor is yours. Whatever you are allowed to share with the people.
Yeah, straight up. No, my guy Drew. Shout out to Drew, man. LA legend, man. My dog. Yeah, no, it was cool. It was a great experience. It was cool getting to be with so many of the OGs from Threads and some of the new ones, and even the content creators that were there in the space. I felt like Meta and their Threads team in collaboration with the NBA did a great job of combining like smaller accounts like myself who've put in a lot of work, yourself and everyone who's been invited to come and share in that experience in something so high level that was done. And they gave everyone an opportunity and a chance to really display a lot of their creativity, and they kept everybody the same. It was like no egos. Like, you're in there with some of the NBA writers who you've seen for the last 20 years on TV on big network ESPN, TNT, that do work with Threads, and to show how they've been able to integrate that with us people who are trying to be in that space or do this for in our spare time, or I put in a lot of work since launch day. And it was nice getting to meet Connor. Great guy. He's a guy. He's cool. Big Celtic energy. My guy BMO. It was just cool to meet everybody. Suns fanatics. Everyone that was there. Obviously Lex, got to meet her. That was fun. Just got to be by the Threads booth. I got to get on the microphone for a little bit for a little post. So that was nice. But the experience overall was amazing. Hopefully by All-Star game here in LA, since it's local, we get to set something else up, and a lot more of us will have some more opportunities. But even how they were able to integrate some of our posts and put it and feature it on the Jumbotron, that was cool, to kind of see some of the day ones or different people who've put in a lot of work on the platform to be in a sense celebrated or kind of get a spotlight on them, and for them to be able to do that at such a big stage in collaboration with the NBA, it said a lot, so those are some of the things that stood out to me, man. So hopefully whenever the next thing comes up, we'll be able to collab and lock in and get together some more. But yeah, I enjoyed myself a lot.
Hey, All-Star weekend. Drew, we out. We out there. We out there. We collide. We gonna do something. Us three, Jared.
Straight up.
We all supposed to be out there. I think that'll be probably the biggest. I ain't been to the other All-Star games and stuff since Threat has started, but from what I'm hearing and from the people planning stuff and putting this aside and moving this around, that might be our biggest thread NBA Threads meetup, because a lot of y'all already out in Cali anyway.
Right.
You about to see a lot of East Coast coming to the West Coast that weekend, and All
That's,
Star Game is my birthday. So Threads, if you watching
oh,
this, if y'all want to get me in,
hook my
holla
man's
at your
up. Y'all,
boy.
y'all, y'all heard him, man. Yeah, get my dog. Hook my dog up.
Staying in that Cali love era. JL on hoops, aka Jarrett, my guy. He asked Cali versus Jersey, who got the better hoopers. So we're gonna do it a little different. Give me your starting five of players from Cali, and I'll give my starting five players born, raised. It don't gotta be raised, but born in Jersey. I'm gonna give you my starting five. So you started off your starting five from Cali.
All right, for sure. So I'm gonna be biased because California is so big of a state. I'm just gonna stick it to Southern California, Los Angeles County, Inland Empire. Like around there. So I'm gonna go Baron Davis, James Harden, Paul Pierce, Kawhi Leonard, and Tyson Chandler.
And that's just staying in the LA area.
That's just staying down here, bro. That's all I
That's
saw
just
growing up. You like, you know what I mean? Like Kawhi's only 2 weeks older than me, so you know I've been hearing about a lot of these guys. Harden, I think, is like a year or so older than me, year or two. And I could have had more. You know, there was a lot more left on the table. I could have threw Clay in there. You know, it's a couple. You know, but I was keeping it cool.
we don't have it as that big over here in Jersey, so I was able to choose throughout the entire state.
All
At my
right,
one, I'm gonna have Kyrie. At my two, I'm gonna have J.R. Smith. At my three, I'm gonna put Bam. At the four, I got Cat, and at the five, the big fella,
yeah, the
Mr.
diesel.
Diesel,
Yes, sir.
Shaq. And
That's tough.
I'll just mention for honorable mention, just to show love, because I would have put him at my two, but I wasn't trying to go two small guards. Jalen Brunson, obviously. Much love to
Mm,
JB. Throw out there also Luol Deng. Show him some love.
that's right. Dang, I forgot he was from there. That's right, huh? What about
And the
Kenny
guy
Anderson?
over out,
Kenny
the
Anderson?
guy, yeah, I think he New York.
New York, yeah,
I
Chips.
I think
He played for
Yeah,
the
he
Nets.
played for
That's
the
my
yeah.
bad, my bad.
I think he New York.
That's my
And of
bad,
course
Chips.
that guy over in Minnesota, Nas Reed,
Ooh,
undrafted, made a
Jelly
career.
fam.
Jelly
Jelly fam.
fan.
Yeah, that's tough. No, Jersey got some hoopers, bro. I ain't gonna hold
Hey,
you. Y'all got some ballers out there. That's tough. I ain't got
that
no answer
five
for
versus five.
Shaquille.
That
Yeah, I ain't got no answer
that's
for
my
Shaquille.
saving grace. Because you talking about Paul Pierce, B Diddy,
Jim
that right
Harden,
there, like James Harden
Kawhi,
already, like that, and Kawhi. I I save it. Like Kyrie gonna make some big shots, of course. But then
for sure.
the main thing is we gonna need Shaq to go 60 and 24.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have to get Super Crip on them or somebody from out here, like somebody to help us out. Cause man, that's tough. I mean, I had Russ available. I had Demar. You know, I got
Ain't
Brandon
Levine is
Jennings.
Levine from out there?
I think Oregon. He played at UCLA
Oregon.
though.
Oh, he played at UCLA.
Yeah,
All right.
I think he's from the same like Kevin Love. Like I think it's like Pacific Northwest, if I'm not mistaken. But I know he's
Okay.
from up there. But yeah, we still got a guys. You know, I could get some shooters. I can get like Darrell Wright. You know, I can get my Marcus Williams. Like you know, it's a lot of guys that Nick Young. Like I said, Brandon Jennings. We
Swaggy
still get
P.
Gilbert
Swaggy
Arenas.
P. Man. Swaggy P, bro.
I'm telling you,
He really had everything to be better than what he
yeah,
was.
you did.
He had
Yeah,
it
for sure.
to
I
be
mean,
better than he was.
he had it, bro. Oh, another one, the Holiday brothers. Can't forget them
Oh
either.
yeah.
Yeah, they from out here too. The Holiday
Drew,
brother. Yeah, get some
Aaron, and
defense.
Justin.
Yeah,
That's how I built my roster like that. I'm like, Bam gonna play some defense.
got to.
Shaq's the big body, and then we just got shooting. We got shooting out Kyrie, JR, tough shot makers, and then Cat. Perfect. Let Shaq be down there. You don't want to get down there anyway, my boy.
Stretch the floor. Stretch the floor.
4 out, 1 in. That's gonna be how. That's how we run it right there.
I just wonder who y'all gonna have guard prime James Harden. You know what I mean? Like and healthy Baron. Like that's tough.
We're gonna
I
put
feel like we
Bam
got
there. We're gonna put Bam
okay.
on
James.
Harden, yeah.
I like that.
And then
I
we
like
talking
that.
about Baron.
I'm talking about Boom Dizzle before the knee injury. I'm talking about when
That's
he was
what
getting good.
that's what I'm like. We might have to
That's
call
tough.
Lou off. We might have to call Lou off the bench. Like, hey, you gonna have to start this game, my boy.
And I need 90s to 2000s Paul Pierce right there on the elbow. No dribbles. Put me I'm pump faking side dribble, step back, fadeaways.
Our
Like I
saving
need
grace is
that
Shaq.
urgency.
That's our saving grace.
Yeah, because
That's our saving.
Yeah, Tyson gonna have to pick up a
That's
lot of
our
fouls. Now,
That's our
I gotta
saving grace.
I gotta find another big man out west. I know they're out there, but I'm sure I can find. Oh, one of the Lopez brothers. I can get one. They from Hollywood. I can get one of those guys to come pick up 6 fouls. Just I need to hack a Shaq. It's gonna slow your whole game down. I don't know if Shaq gonna like Kyrie dribbling the air, the ball sizing up James Harden and Paul Pierce and Kawhi. I don't know, bro.
We're gonna end off with top 5 late bloomers. Who comes to mind for those that's watching? We're categorizing late bloomers as players who did not come into the league with the fanfare, did not come into the league as stars, didn't start off hot, as you could say, in their career, but later on in their career, they started to blossom. They got the all-star team nods and things of that nature. For example, I'll throw his name out. One of the all-time late bloomers, Sam Cassell. He started off 95, 96, got the rings with the Houston Rockets, but he ain't make his first all-star till he was 34.
Yeah.
Till he was 34. He was a contributing piece early in his career, but later on, he actually became one of the top point guards in the league. He just needed the opportunity. The late bloomer. So you take it away. Who comes to mind for you for your favorite late bloomers to end off this installment of Mondays with Chris Lindsey Hoops?
I got a couple of them, bro. I'm gonna say Paul Millsap. I think when he was over there in Utah, initially, right? Yeah, he was in Utah, I believe, when he first got to the league, and then he played in Atlanta is when he really took off. It was key for them with Joe Johnson and all those guys. Kyle Lowry was another one. You know, he got drafted out of Villanova. He's over there in Memphis with Rudy Gay, and he was riding the bench in Houston for a couple years, and then he was able to work it out and get moved over there. Did you see what he was able to be in Toronto? Another one, Paul George, in a way, I feel like he came in under Danny Granger's shadow, but not as a replacement. But until Danny Granger got hurt, then it only took a couple years for people to see that Paul George was the guy. One that might throw people off, Steve Nash. I think another one, he didn't really start transcending and getting there until like the fifth or sixth year of his career, where I think his first All-Star game was 2002 when he made his first All-Star game. And then obviously, you know, the MVPs, once he was able to leave out of Dallas, instantly changed the way he was playing. And then even Steph Curry, you know, just one to throw in there. Obviously, you see what Minnesota did by picking Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn before him. And, you know, rightfully so, with all the information that they had at the time, with him being hurt and not knowing if his play style or how he played would work in that version of the NBA. But it took him a couple years. You know, he didn't get his first All-Star to, I think, 2014 or 15 or somewhere around there. And he was hurt a lot, and he was playing behind Monte Ellis. But once they started seeing him hit that corner, then they got Monte and they moved him. But yeah, I would say those guys: Paul George, Paul Millsap, Kyle Lowry, Steve Nash, Steph Curry, late bloomers.
All great picks. I'll go through mine real quick because I just realized I forgot my man Walter. His question he had, I think, is a really good question, and we'll end off the show with what Walter had to ask. My list for top late bloomers that come to mind: Jimmy Butler, obvious. Jimmy did not come into the league as being viewed as one of the best players in the league, as a floor raiser, as somebody that people have debates if he's going to be a Hall of Famer. That's another episode that we'll talk about. But for him to be in the conversation to be a Hall of Famer with how his career started off coming in, nobody saw that coming. Late bloomer. Pascal Siakam really has turned his game into something nice. Again, one of those contributing pieces in Toronto. Toronto during that time, and even now, they do a great job with finding the hidden gems that are projects that they have a good development team. Next thing you know, oh, who's this player? Who's Boucher? Who's this? Pascal was one of them guys in Toronto that turned out to be a dog, and he's the leading guy over there in Indiana. Jalen Brunson, just talked about him earlier. Over in Dallas, didn't really get to play. Starts playing. He has that one good year. He has that playoff run with Luka. Hey, sent him out to New York, got the bag, and now you're in conversation of, could this small guy lead the Knicks to a title, which we don't typically see smaller guards being the face of the franchise leading to titles. Throw out there also, funny enough, you had on the list too. My list was Steve Nash, because we be thinking the same. I throw out one of the modern ones right now, Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard came into the game, and I love his story, and I love how he plays. Peyton Pritchard, and now he's one of the key pieces, and now he's getting his chance to shine and do more. He, at that size, you gotta play whatever role, do whatever you can to get on the court. I'm hustling, I'm playing defense, I'm getting assists, I'm a spark plug. I'll throw out Peyton Pritchard, and I'll throw out another name that comes to mind, TJ McConnell. Same thing. I love TJ McConnell. I'm gonna start off getting into the league. I'm a scrappy defender, hustler, and when the opportunity came, I can get buckets too. Don't think I can't. But I'm under 6 feet, so they told me you need to do this. But I could get buckets too. So TJ McConnell, another great name, late bloomer. And with that being the same in the same vein, some of these people that are late bloomers, it was really often it was an opportunity situation. It was they didn't get a chance to sign. They weren't drafted to the right team. Coaches didn't believe in them. Walter underscore Kovacs, Kovacz. Hopefully I ain't say that wrong and I ain't butcher that. But he asked kind of what we just was talking about with all the talent that we have in the league across the board. Do you think because of all the talent we have and some players that are the sixth man and the seventh man could actually be a number 2 or a number 3 option on the team, or this player could be a number 1 option on the team? And we have a lot of talent in the G League, but because there's so much talent in the NBA, players don't get to really move up and get the opportunity. Do you think that there should be expansion teams for the NBA coming down the pipeline very soon? And I thought he didn't ask this, and I'll throw it out there. What do you think, if you think that the expansion team should be?
Man, that's a good question. Shout out to Walter. I think so, bro. Like it's just so many talented rosters and players in this league where a lot of guys aren't given an opportunity to kind of play and showcase that, or they have to play defined roles, which can kind of stifle growth and like their name and how they are in the league. But I think it would be a good idea maybe to kind of tap into that and look. But if you're going to do that, first order of business, you got to get the Sonics back to Seattle. That's like the first thing. It's a great city. The team is starving for that. They need that. Uh, Other than that, move the Memphis Grizzlies to the Eastern Conference, right? Get them over there. Uh, then I think you probably just need another team to kind of fill out one of these other states that are there. I know even if you bring Vancouver back at some point, right? Then you could kind of work that out and have that kind of be done. But I think it would probably, if you were able to get 2 more teams for each conference, or to get 2 in the Western Conference and just to move, kind of shift things, especially in the divisions around a little bit, I don't see a problem with it, bro. I think it'll be a great idea.
I agree. Seattle has to be one. It's been talks and rumors of Vegas being one of those spots.
Oh,
With
yeah.
the gambling and everything going on, I don't know if that's the smartest thing that y'all should be doing, but I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll put a team out there in Vegas. On the east side, like you said, probably move Memphis over to the actually in the Eastern Conference. That could probably help them a lot, big time. I don't know where on the East Coast that you want to add another team specifically that comes to mind, because the main spots is taken. You got
Yeah.
Florida, multiple teams over there. Big Easy, you got Atlanta. You don't want to put a team in Alabama. You don't want to do that. Alabama, Mississippi, leave those places alone. They don't need no NBA teams. North Carolina got a team. I mean, if you want to put somebody in South Carolina, they got a team in DC, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right? Tennessee? No.
Yeah. Memphis Grizzlies, but not this. Yeah.
Yeah.
The state. Yeah,
Memphis,
they're in the
Tennessee.
state.
Yeah. So Tennessee, they got something covered there. Obviously, New York. Selfishly, yes, bring a team back to Jersey.
There you go.
Probably not Newark, which I completely understand, but yeah. So shout out to you, Walter. Definitely, I think it should be some expansion teams. But that's a wrap for this episode. Y'all know the vibes here at the BME podcast. If you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready. Bench Mob, we out. If you see this, whenever you see this, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Whenever you end up watching this, like, share, and subscribe. Peace.